this is completely way off topic, but I was talking to my son today at lunch, and he was just asking some questions about you and how we knew each other, and some background. And one of the things that I brought up were, of course, some of your stories. Um, I was trying to remember the story of one of your cruise ship gigs. Now, I remember some of the stories about how you'd say, the rest of the band was all playing in a different key and it was just horrible, and, some of the musically funny ones. But you had one where a guy, if I remember correctly, jumped,
Mm, yeah,
right?
yeah,
Can you tell me that story again?
yeah. Well, I think I know the one that you mean, because there have been other stories where funny stories where like the drummer in the band fell or jumped off the back of the ship and they went back and they got him. And
Yeah, no, no, this was a dark one.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, this one was, yeah, I remember that one. So that was in 2011, actually. And I was on the Celebrity Eclipse, which for that time that was like the flagship of the entire fleet. And
Yeah.
I remember they had me do this special audition for the ship too. It was really interesting because they wanted to make sure that you're good, I was good enough to play
Sure.
play in the orchestra. And I got on this ship, and just to give some background, I mean, it was a nice ship. I
Yeah.
I was in the crew area, and it looked like a hotel,
Mhm.
which is unusual for a cruise ship. And I thought I was in the guest area, so I was trying to find my room, and then I realized, oh, my room's right here. This is a crew area.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And then I went into the crew mess, and it was like all yellows, the yellow room. And then they had another crew mess, which is where you eat. It's the mess hall, and
Yep.
the other one was red, all red, and so they had all these colorations everywhere to sort of uplift your spirit and make you feel more lively and happy, I guess. And I guess. And anyway, so that gives you some background. But what happened with that situation was there was a code Oscar, and I was down in this crew game room. They had free arcade games, so you,
Okay.
you didn't have to put the quarter in. And they had my favorite game, which was the buck hunter with the
Oh
deer that
yeah,
jump.
yeah, shooting. Yeah. Uh-huh.
I don't know why. I like that game, and it's kind of a morbid game, really. Um, but anyway, I was playing that game, and I heard Code Oscar, and it said Code Oscar Deck Six, and I knew what that meant. Code Oscar meant that someone fell or jumped overboard, and Deck Six was that's the outside deck around the ship.
Mm.
So every cruise ship typically has a deck where you could go out and walk around the ship, or you could run, you could jog, and
Yeah.
so that's where it was. So I knew someone just fell overboard. So I went up there really fast, and I realized there's nobody up here. I was there all by myself, and I was looking, look water. And if you see someone, to keep your eye on them. And then if there's a life, of course, um, like a buoy or something, you can throw it out to them. But
Now this was
you're
this was
supposed
at
to keep your eye on them.
this was at night, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it
I
was
mean, it
just
was it
pitch
was
black
night.
out
It
there.
was nighttime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the chances of seeing anybody was just like next to none.
Yeah.
And worse than that, it was in the Baltic.
Mm.
Yeah, and the Baltic, that's a really cold water.
Yeah.
So, I'm a scuba diver, and I can tell you that even in the Caribbean, I mean, if even with a wetsuit, but obviously that guy didn't have a wetsuit. But even with a wetsuit in the Caribbean, I mean, if you were just in the ocean, eventually you're going to get tired and get cold. I mean, eventually it won't
Sure.
take that long, you know. So if you don't have a wetsuit on, it doesn't take long at all in the Caribbean to get cold.
Well, and
So
it's not like a huge ship like that can just stop immediately and spin right around. I mean, it's going to take a while to get back around.
yeah. And so anyway, I couldn't find anybody out there. And eventually the Oscar crew came up. That's what they call it.
Hmm.
There's I could find anybody in the water for 17 hours late.
Yeah.
So, you know, and the reason they know that is because of the cameras. They they had cameras out there on deck six, which they usually do. Even back then in 2011, they typically would have cameras. Now I'm sure there's cameras everywhere on cruise ships,
Sure.
but they did that because people would jump sometimes, and they saw him. I mean, they on the camera. He was a Filipino guy, I think a waiter, and what they said was that he had gotten a phone call from back home, and his wife, I guess, was not being true to him and was with another man or something like that, and he just decided that he was just going to
Something
jump
worth.
off the ship.
Yeah,
And
I thought I remember you
so
telling me that he had been on there for a long contract. It wasn't just like a 1 month thing.
yes,
He had been on there for a while, and that he had told his wife he was getting home in, 2 days or whatever it was, and that's when she broke the news that it she was with somebody else or something like that.
yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, he was. I remember that detail too. That he was almost ready to disembark, and yeah, I think they had kids too.
Yeah,
So
I remember you saying that.
yeah. So anyway, I mean, it's a problem for people that are out there on ships. They,